The line for the Godzilla Smash Therapy booth was easily the longest that anyone had ever seen at the Tokyo Electronics Show. It wrapped around the convention center floor twice, tied up tight with anticipation, a living testament to just how deep Japan's love for kaiju runs, even 75 years after Godzilla first barreled through Shibuya. On every attendee's digital bingo card, try Godzilla Smash Therapy was the square everyone hoped to snap. And the wait was part of the ritual. In May 2025, something happened that turned up the spotlight even brighter. Fortnite, already an obsession in its own right, added a fully playable Godzilla character. Suddenly, millions were experiencing the joy of flattening voxel skyscrapers and batting plastic helicopters out of the air, all through the glowing eye sockets of the king of the monsters. And no one was more thrilled than Nick Fortune, a self-described Canadian couch potato, living for late-night kaiju binges and endless rounds of mayhem on his console. There was something magical about Godzilla's new emote, a heavy metal power cord blazed from a flaming guitar, while the next triggered a city skyline to pop up and out, just to be stomped down by the rubbery feet of the ancient reptile. Then, in a late-night rabbit hole of kaiju videos, Nick discovered something deeper. The origins of Godzilla stretch back to a whole genre of post-war Japanese monster horror, long before the age of CGI. Filmmakers in the 1950s built detailed, scale-model cities, tiny buildings, miniature trains, fragile bridges. The actors suited up in massive, handcrafted Godzilla costumes, each scale tailored, each spine painstakingly fitted. Clever camera angles brought these costumes to life, plunging audiences into a world where cities crumbled before the sheer, lizardly might of a cinematic legend. It was there, watching behind-the-scenes documentaries and dissecting suit blueprints, that Nick Fortune had his genius moment. What if you could combine Tokyo's uniquely cathartic tradition, where stressed office workers smash plates or punch pillows, with a kaiju experience? What if, instead of a dish, you smashed a skyscraper emerging out of the ground, just like in Fortnite? The appeal was instant, universal, a Godzilla suit designed for regular humans, but packed with mechanisms that made you feel as massive and powerful as the original. Building it, however, was a feat as epic as any Godzilla rampage. The suit's exoskeleton started as a sturdy frame, light enough for someone 16 or over, strong enough to swing a foam tail or stomp through mock concrete. The claws were a marvel of robotics, each fingertip able to articulate and grasp, with haptic sensors giving feedback through vibration so the wearer could feel the crunch of balsa wood buildings. Inside, a network of air bladders expanded and contracted to fake the flex of the monster's muscles, while servos in the feet rolled out a deep, thunderous feedback every time you planted a stomp. But it was the tail that made the crowds gasp. Constructed of segmented, lightweight alloy sections, the tail let wearers whip a circle of cardboard towers to the ground with the flick of their hips. Controlled by a motorized harness and motion sensors, it was intuitive. Swing, crash, cheer. LEDs along the back ridge flickered with each movement, mimicking the classic build-up to Godzilla's signature atomic breath. And yes, the suite had fire, or at least fog, colored lasers, and a show-stopping hot air blast that whooshed out of the mouthpiece every time you roared. Sound effects boomed from speakers hidden in the suit's chest and through the event hall's surround system. Helicopter blades, panicked citizen screams, that guttural, bone-shaking Godzilla cry. Occasionally, the suit's chest plate would heave, synchronized with your breathing, making every roar feel almost real. At the heart of the booth, the GST arena, was a constantly shifting diorama. Skyscrapers, office towers, and neon-lit radio masts slid up from beneath the floor on hydraulic lifts. Chosen at random like a monstrous whack-a-mole, sometimes two or three would appear at once, daring participants to swing a spiked tail while balancing on foam-padded claws, knock over a helicopter, lights flashed and sirens blared. Crush a landmark, and the whole event space erupted in celebration. As Nick watched booth after booth fill with laughter, high fives, and triumphant monster howls, he knew he'd tapped into something deeper than nostalgia. It was connection to childhood dreams, to cinematic magic, and to a uniquely Japanese need for release amid the pressures of modern life. On the 75th anniversary of Godzilla, the King of the Monsters wasn't just an icon seen on screen. It was a feeling, a memory, and for a brief moment, something alive beneath your very skin. And at the Tokyo Electronics Show, Godzilla Smash Therapy wasn't just the main attraction. It was a roaring, stomp-crashing celebration for kaiju fans everywhere.